Sunshine here on your Tuesday morning. Warming things up, going to be a great day weather-wise here in northwestern Minnesota. More on that coming up in a few minutes. First, though, let's check sports. Scores and schedules with Wade Allen. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Bob. Good morning, buddy. Happy Tuesday. Yes, sun shining outside the studios. Gorgeous start to your Tuesday. There was some high school baseball and softball going around the area, so let's check in on that. Red Lake County in high school baseball defeated Norman County East Union Hilderdale yesterday 13-1. And it was Fertile Beltrami with the winner over Badger Greenbush Middle River 17-4 in high school baseball. Softball action yesterday. West Marshall took on Sacred Heart in a softball doubleheader. Sacred Heart coming on top on both of those 12-0 and 21-5 with the doubleheader win for Sacred Heart. It was Red Lake Falls down in Detroit Lake 17-2 and Northern Freeze winning over Fertile Beltrami 10-0 in high school softball. We'll fill you in on the Minnesota Wild and Minnesota Timberwolves that were in Game 2 of their Best of 7 series, as the Twins were off yesterday, but they were off, but they got some bad news. Scheduled activities today on Thief River Falls Radio. We are scheduled to have Red Lake Falls taking on Badger Greenbush Middle River in high school softball. Lee Jennings will bring that one to us on North Country 99.3 right around 4:30 today. And Travis will be on 94.1 The Falls with high school baseball, Red Lake County at West Marshall this afternoon, starting at 4 o'clock. That one on 94.1 The Falls. Thief River Falls boys and girls track teams are in Crookston at the Frozen 5 meet today. Good luck to the runners there. And we'll have Twins baseball on the radio tonight. More details on that coming up in a little bit. Let's start with the Minnesota Twins, who, they were off, but we told you they kind of suffered a loss yesterday as Twins starting pitcher Mick Abel had been placed on the 15-day injured list due to what they call right elbow inflammation. Of course, he was originally a top prospect, drafted 15th overall by the Philadelphia Phillies back in 2020. He was traded to Minnesota in July 2025 in exchange for reliever Yohan Duran. And on his last start on the 14th, he set a career high with 10 strikeouts over 7 shutout innings against the Boston Red Sox. He currently is 1-2 on the year with a 3.98 ERA and 23 strikeouts. His elbow inflammation, which is currently not considered serious, which is good news, but he is expected to be sidelined until at least early May. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But Mick Abel right now on the 15-day disabled list. Twins, again, were off last night. They will be given a 6-game road trip out east tonight. They are 11-11 on the year. And they'll open up a 3-game interleague series against the New York Mets tonight. Minnesota has lost 4 straight games and finds itself in 3rd place in the AL Central, just 1 game behind first place Cleveland Guardians. Twins general manager Jeremy Zoll says he is generally happy with how the team is getting on base.
Really strong from the lineup and really top to bottom in that regard. Our walk rate, I think top 5 or 6 in the league right now. The guys have done a really good job of just continuing to have quality at bat after quality at bat. We've had a ton of bases loaded plate appearances, and certainly hits contribute, but when you get a couple guys on and you add on a walk, you just end up in all these really good situations.
The Mets, who are looking for a spark, are 7-15. They're in last place in the NL East and have lost 11 consecutive games. New York was also off last night. Simeon's Woods Richardson is scheduled tonight for Minnesota. The right-hander is 0-3 on the season with a 6.10 ERA. He will face Mets right-hander Nolan McLean, who is 1-1 this year. He's got a 2.28 ERA. Tonight's first pitch is set for 6:10 p.m., 5:30 pregame tonight. We'll have it for you right here on your home for Twins baseball, KTRF. Other finals from the Diamonds yesterday. Boston Red Sox with an 8-6 win over the Detroit Tigers. It was the Houston Astros winning over the Cleveland Guardians 9-2. Miami Marlins down in the St. Louis Cardinals 5-3. Otto Lopez provided the go-ahead RBI and a double for Miami. Cincinnati Reds with the 6-1 win over the Tampa Bay Rays. Rookie Sal Stewart hit his 8th home run for the Reds. Atlanta Braves with the 9-4 win over the Washington Nationals. Matt Olson homered as the Braves won their 10th out of 12 games. Braves are kind of on a roll right now. Baltimore Orioles with the 7-5 win over the Kansas City Royals. Chicago Cubs picking up a 5-1 win over the Philadelphia Phillies. Ben Brown and the Cubs have won their 6th straight game with that win last night. LA Dodgers, of course, defending World Series champs. Big win over the Colorado Rockies 12-3. Muncy went 4 for 4 for the Dodgers. Toronto Blue Jays with the 5-2 win over the LA Angels. And it was the Athletics with the 6-4 win over the Seattle Mariners. Athletics rallied with two home runs in the 6th inning to come back and win 6-4 over Seattle. Well, the AAA St. Paul Saints were off last night. They'll hit the road tonight for a 6-game series in Indianapolis at Victory Field. The Saints are off to a 9-11 start this season. First pitch is at 5:35 from Indianapolis. Brock Faber for Minnesota scored twice for Minnesota as the Wild fell to the Dallas Stars 4-2 in Game 2 of that series as they settle for a split from Dallas. Head coach John Hines recaps the loss.
You know what? I thought it was a hard-fought team by both teams. You know, they were gonna play hard. I thought we played it hard as well. So I think from a competitive aspect, there wasn't much difference. And I thought we had some, with Krill and those guys, I thought there was some good pushes in the third.
Jesper Wallstedt suffered the loss in goal with 28 saves on the night. Matt Zuccarello was unavailable for Game 2 last night as he was out with an upper body injury. And, of course, that limited things as he had 3 assists in Game 1. With the series even at 1 game apiece, things shift to Minnesota. It will be Wednesday night at Grand Casino Arena, 8:30. We'll have it for you, 8:15 pregame on Real Country 1460. Finals from the other East was the Philadelphia Flyers over the Pittsburgh Penguins 3-0 as they lead that series 2-0. Dan Valader recorded a 27-save shutout for Philadelphia. It was the Carolina Hurricanes with the 3-2 win over the Ottawa Senators. They lead that series 2-0. Jordan Martinook scored at 13:53 of a double overtime. That game went to double overtime last night. He was originally stopped on a penalty shot earlier in the game, but Carolina again in double overtime winning 3-2, leading that series 2-0 over the Ottawa Senators. And it was the Edmonton Oilers claiming Game 1 with a 4-3 win over the Anaheim Ducks last night. Kasperi Kapanen scored the go-ahead goal with 1:54 remaining in the third period last night to give Edmonton the 4-3 victory. Minnesota Timberwolves rallied from a 19-point second-quarter deficit to defeat the Denver Nuggets last night and even that best-of-7 series at a game apiece with a 119-114 win. Head coach Chris Finch says his team kept its poise in the heat of the moment.
We talked a lot about it over the last couple of days. That's what hurt us in Game 1 was composure. Whether it was surviving our own mistakes or their runs or momentum plays to go against you. I thought tonight we did a really good job of surviving that. I mean, I've never seen that type of that many 4-point leads before.
Anthony Edwards, good night for him, scored 30 points and grabbed 10 boards to lead the way for Minnesota. Julius Randle would add 24. Denver's Jamal Murray netted 30 points for the Nuggets. As the Wolves trailed by 3 points to start the fourth quarter, they would held on to their composure to notch the win. Minnesota out-rebounded Denver 60-54 in last night's contest. Game 3 shipped to Minneapolis Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. We'll join in progress right here on KTRF Thursday night for Game 3 between the Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. Other finals from a couple other games on the NBA playoff schedule. Cleveland Cavaliers with the 115-105 win over the Toronto Raptors as Donovan Mitchell posted 30 points. James Harden contributed 28 points and 5 steals. Scotty Barnes led the way for the Raptors in the loss with 26 points. Cleveland leads that series 2-0. In the other one, the Atlanta Hawks getting a 1-point win over the New York Knicks, 107-106. CJ McCollum was the hero for Atlanta, scoring a game-high 32 points, including the go-ahead basket with 2:09 remaining. The Hawks outscored the Knicks 28-15 alone in the third quarter. That series now tied 1 game apiece between Atlanta and the New York Knicks. Minnesota Lynx completed day 2 of their training camp yesterday. They'll have another workout at team headquarters in downtown Minneapolis later today. Head coach Cheryl Reeves says this is the time of the year to figure out the team's identity with a lot of new faces.
Obviously top of mind, and the phrase grade, on decisions, and for the players. Obviously that was hard. It was hard for us, and so we've got to figure out the path forward and how to accomplish what we need it takes to be successful.
Now, currently, 21 players are on the training camp roster, with several others still completing their overseas commitments. Former Gopher star Mia Battle is taking part in training camp as well. Minnesota opens the preseason slate with a game at Washington on Saturday night at 6:30 p.m. Well, San Antonio Spurs center Victor Wembanyama was named the first ever unanimous winner of the NBA's Defensive Player of the Year award. The league announced that yesterday. The third-year pro is the youngest player to win the award and the first Spur to do so since Kawhi Leonard took it home back-to-back years following the 2014-2015 seasons. Wembanyama led the league with 3.1 blocks per game, one more than Thunder center Chet Holmgren, who was second. Holmgren, of course, a Minneapolis native, came in second in the voting, and Pistons guard Azari Thompson was voted third. Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert finished fourth in the voting in the NBA Defensive Player of the Year award. Congratulations, Victor Wembanyama, which is surprising, first ever unanimous player to do so. Yesterday marked the 130th Boston Marathon, which turned out to be a historic day with back-to-back champions and a major course record as well. Over 30,000 runners from nearly 130 countries in all 50 states participated in the 26.2-mile journey. Kenya's athletes dominated the professional divisions with both 2025 champions successfully defending their titles. So on the men's side of things, it was John Korir of Kenya with a time of 2 hours, 1 minute, and 52 seconds. Sets a new course record, shattering it by 70 seconds. And on the women's open side of thing, it was Sharon Lokedi of Kenya with 2 hours and 18 minutes and 51 seconds, her second consecutive win. In the men's wheelchair, it was Marcel Hug of Switzerland with a time of 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 6 seconds, his ninth Boston Marathon title. And on the women's wheelchair event, Edna Rainbow Cooper of Great Britain with a time of 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 51 seconds, her second consecutive win. To note, on the American side of things, Zuhair Talbi and Jess McLean set the fastest ever Boston times for American men and women, respectively, yesterday. Again, 26.2-mile journey. The Golden Gopher football team is entering its final week of spring practice with a workout this afternoon on campus. Minnesota will have another practice on Thursday before hosting the spring game this Saturday at Huntington Bank Stadium at 11 a.m. And if you're planning on going, fans are asked to bring packages of diapers or baby wipes to the game as the team is hosting its annual diaper drive, benefiting the Diaper Bank of Minnesota, which helps families in need. Staying with football, the Minnesota Vikings started phase one of their off-season workout program yesterday at team headquarters at Eagan. The early part of the training program is mostly for strength and conditioning with little on-field work. Star wide receiver Justin Jefferson says the addition of quarterback Kyler Murray will boast that quarterback position.
My first reaction was just really good to kind of get some good talent in the room, to kind of give a little spark in that room, to kind of see a competitive edge and from those guys to really lock in and to do what we're expecting them to do, which is to come in and, to be that guy. And, we need that one guy for this team. So I'm definitely excited for that room, excited to see what those guys have in store for us in training camp.
The Vikings will host organized team activities from May 26th to the 29th, then again from June 1st to the 4th, and again from June 15th to the 18th. The OTAs are all voluntary. There will be a mandatory minicamp June 9th through the 11th. Training camp officially gets underway in late July. The Vikings finished course last season 9-8, but missed the playoffs by just that much. And according to some NFL experts, Mel Kiper and Matt Miller, their projected top 5 NFL draft list, the number 5 pick with the New York Giants, they think that they will select Caleb Downs, Ohio State safety. Tennessee Titans, they think Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame running back. Arizona Cardinals with the 3rd pick, they figure they will select Verrill Reese, Ohio State outside linebacker. New York Jets figured to maybe take David Bailey, Texas Tech outside linebacker. And, of course, the projected number 1 pick to the Las Vegas Raiders is Fernando Mendoza, Indiana quarterback. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Again, that draft gets underway on the 23rd. And, Bob, finally, some contract extensions. The Dallas Cowboys made Brandon Aubrey the highest paid kicker in NFL history with a 4-year deal. And the 49ers extended Trent Williams for $50 million over 2 years.
Okay. Just going over the Minnesotans and the Boston Marathon. And I'm not there. I missed. I must have missed the deadline. I'm sure I sent in the form.
Well, if you send in the form, that means we all send in the form to go as announcers for the race.
Yeah. There were. Of course, it's a huge marathon.
Right?
There must have been like 500 Minnesotans running in the marathon, and I did see some names from Duluth and Moorhead and Brainerd. There were a few names in there, but I didn't. A lot of names to go over. I didn't. Hibbing. I think there was a Grand Rapids that I saw.
Nice.
But I don't know.
Anybody local? Like
Detroit Lake, there was a Detroit Lakes runner.
Okay. That's pretty close.
Yeah, I think that's about as close. We have had long distance runners in the area who've done the big marathons before. I don't think there were any.
I don't know what the Kenyans are training, but man, they are just dominant in those big marathons year after year. I mean, their training has got to be.
The guy who won was like 5'5" and like minus 5% body fat.
Yeah, right?
I mean, if I ran, it'd be like him carrying 4 of themselves.
Yeah. Right.
Just.
I mean, it's impressive. You know, some of those times. I mean, 26 miles. Just think of 26 miles alone, and these guys are doing it, guys and gals, just to share over 2 hours. You know, his was like 2 hours and 1 minute. Hers time was 2 hours and 18 minutes. That is insane.
Yeah, there are Sunday afternoon drives on country gravel where I have not gone 26 miles in 2 hours.
Right. Yeah. No. It's spot on.
Yeah. I mean, it's phenomenal athlete.
Right.
Phenomenal.
More power to anybody who runs a marathon. Definitely no pun intended. If you're a marathon runner, more power to you. That's your thing. But to me, that's just impressive. 2 hours.
I once ran a marathon. My wife moved the TV to the other end of the living room.
Okay.
Doubled the distance on me, right there.
Because so she moved the TV and then she moved your chair.
Yeah. Or one or the other, it doubled the distance.
Right.
So, marathons and there are a lot of big ones, and that's one of the big ones.
Yeah.
In Boston.
And I think what the biggest one around here is the Fargo Marathon.
Yeah.
I forget how big it is,
big
but
one. Duluth, the Grandma's at Duluth is huge.
Okay.
The Twin Cities has.
Yeah.
And there are some smaller ones, but yeah, they're pretty big. The big regional ones anyway.
Right.
And a lot of them are qualifiers.
For some of those bigger marathons, right?
Yeah. You can't just. If you're going to compete in certain divisions, you can't just show up.
Right.
You do have to be legitimate.
And I think there's some pretty big rules. Like if you want to go, like from I think the Fargo Marathon. I think you're right. Is a qualifier. There's certain things you can and you can't do. Right. You can't have. I don't think you can have earbuds in. I believe in some of those events.
There are rules. Yeah. Certainly. All right, sports news, and the fact that we don't know them tells you as much why we know nothing about marathons.
Right, yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, there might be rules, there might not.
Right, yep, 100%.
All right, sports.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Wade will be back next hour. We'll have another update for you.